can you say about this link between storytelling and urgency? I mean, threat in a way, and also why this urgency is neededly, using both sides. Let's say documentation, documentary, and the various way of fiction.
Yeah, I even think there is this idea that when you're into a more dramatical situation, you're not allowed to use fiction because it's not so serious as reality. But I think that fiction, it's a product of reality. I think that, or sometimes it's not because it's completely disconnected. It's like an industrial thing, and people are thinking what's. But even then, it's linked to a time, to a moment where you can imagine stories from a certain perspective, and this perspective is completely linked with the time and the moment. And so let's say that the stories we can come up in a country that is going into hard times, I think they are linked to this moment we are living. So in a way, it's a document. The stories we can invent that are the product, the result from a moment that you're living, you're passing. And I have the same perspective. You know much better than me about this because you're more experienced, and you have a documentary film festival that shows lots of non-documentary films or fiction films, and this is very good for me. And because, for instance, if you take the book Arabian Nights, it's telling a lot about, in 5 centuries ago, what was, the Arabian society. It's telling lots of, like Don Quixote. Don Quixote is telling lots of things about, I don't know, if for me it's more interesting than documents of that time about what was happening in Spain at that moment. It's documenting an imaginary. And the imaginary is telling things about reality. Of course, that what's happening, it's not what's happening in the story with the characters. It's not what happened in a possible newspaper of that moment. But it's telling me 5 centuries after some things about that society, and a guy that was inventing stories from what existed at that moment. And so things are linked, and I've made a film called Our Beloved Month of August, which was also very important to me because in a way I was documenting something. Sometimes I was having a very direct, not staged connection with things. So I arrived to, let's say, the festivities of a certain small town, and I would put a camera in front of something, and that something that I was putting the camera was something that was completely fiction.